Hey there. Thank you very much for checking out my YouTube channel. Again, we are going live on Studios, which is just a way of me capturing some information very easily. So again, we're with a cheap little budget. I've got a little webcam. We've got a Bluetooth Yeti mic, which I think works really well. So that's kind of I think our $60 setup. So it kind of gives you a little run through there. A little pod lamp off to the side, which I think gives me a nice little spooky shadow for Halloween. I think that works really well. So I thought I'd give a little update. I've got a 10-day booking going out, and it's a client coming in to Canada. And lo and behold, he doesn't have a driver's license for being in Canada. He's got an EU driver's license. And being the fact that I've only been on, well, what do we come up to, about 8 weeks? So I'm not exactly a professor or professional when it comes to dealing with the little intricate details when it comes to Turo. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So we're at that 24-hour mark. And I've sent him off a couple of emails just verifying a few things through the app, through Turo. So everything's all kind of documented from that standpoint. Hadn't had a ping back in like 2 weeks about, the booking is good or anything like that line. But I left it there because you know what? I had that feeling it seemed accurate. And I Googled his name too, and it made sense that he's coming in. So finally pinned me back, and I said, look, I need to see your driver's license, which is one of the steps in Turo. And I would appreciate it if you just send it to Turo. And then from there, they can verify it. And then it's just an easy process for me. Like there's no headaches from that standpoint. So he sent them directly to me, which kind of I think the issue there was he was concerned that his license wouldn't be valid to be able to drive. And I think he was just trying to skirt by getting to the owner and saying, well, okay, well, maybe you'll let it slide, right? I can't, because I want that vehicle to be properly insured. And if there's an issue down the road, and there probably will be, because that's what happens when you let things slide. The fact that everything's all kind of tucked and put back together and the way it should be means that it's probably going to go nice and smooth with no issues. That's traditionally how that works, right? So I ended up going through Turo and going through their automated chatbot to try and figure out, how do I verify an EU license in Canada? It's not really properly written for the chatbot that they have. So it kept looping me around like to other topics that are completely unrelated from that standpoint. So I had to go and call them on their 800 number, which, to be honest with you, is normally hard to get through. Like it's not, they put you right back to the chatbot. That's kind of the process. But nice lady, Christine. Thank you very much for walking me through the process. She did end up putting me back on the chatbot, but put me back in the right direction. Right, so that was kind of nice. I just explained to her at like 4:15 on a Friday. They're picking it up tomorrow. There's going to be nobody there in the office. I need to make sure that I can hand them off the keys or put the keys in the key box and not have to worry about it as far as that's concerned. Right. So she put me on to one I guess is one of the senior guys there. Didn't talk to him. We did the chat kind of, again, it's just technology. The way it is, no one actually wants to talk to anybody or see them, which seems to be the trend. It's just a tough market to be in as far as that's concerned. So got kind of typing away with the old 2-finger type, and he's telling me, oh, that's fine. It's not going to be an issue from that standpoint. And so I cut and paste everything that he said and moved it off to the side. And I forwarded it off to my renter just to say, hey, they're fine with it. It's not an issue. Everything's good. But you have to do a photo with a little selfie. So you have to put where would you put it? Over here, your driver's license close to the camera so they can compare face. And probably fine, right, from that standpoint. So that's an easy one. But that was kind of the hurdle. Going through that international driver's license was a problem. And the Turo platform is not really set up to explain the Canadian market or the Canadian licensing with that coming in. Again, I think it's just because we're or probably like the state of Maine. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a huge priority from that standpoint. Not that I'm saying the state of Maine is not a priority, but I'm just saying it's, when you look at the grand scheme of things, we're just a small little tiny little market in Southern Ontario, Canada, right? So I think that's where that boils down. So that's my update on my current renter. He's coming in tomorrow. We're doing a touchless or a pickup. So in other words, I'm putting the key in a key box. He'll have the driver's license verified. I've done the photo shoot of the vehicle. I'm going to forward that off so everything's all documented. The other one that I like to do is I take a tread rating of the tires. Not that it's a huge concern, but I also want the brand in case they go missing. It's not a big problem in Listowel area, like in the rural, but if you go traveling into Toronto or you go into Hamilton, you do run the risk of having your tires stolen. So it's just one of those things that if I had to go through an insurance claim, I've got some Toyos on that, 24s. They look really nice. It's not 24-inch tires. It's that's the tire itself. So they're 18. It's just a standard factory type package, and that's the standard tire from Mitsubishi that would have been on that vehicle when it was new. It's not the original tire, of course, but it's a nice set of tires. So that's the big concern there. Not really, but it's one of those things I like to do. Plus, if there's a curb or there's some damage there, I can put that back as well. And there's some pretty big potholes and things like that around and about. That's pretty easy to come by. So that's where I'm at with that. So if you do get a foreign license, someone coming in, and I'm going to assume that it's got to be reasonably common. Like I'm going to probably say that there's a hurdle probably at Tilden. There's probably a struggle when you're going to a regular rental. You're probably looking at a much higher bill over a 10 or 15-day booking. So I've given a pretty decent discount on my end. It saves me having to clean the car repeatedly over those 10 or 14 days, one big cleanup at the end. So it makes sense to book for a 10-day booking, even though you're not making as much money. The overall amount is reasonable. And again, a little less work involved. So, and that's something that I got from the guys down in the States explaining that. So that's something that I think Tony, I don't think from his videos, he doesn't seem to focus on that. They seem to be like weddings, special events. But when you look at Audrey's, which is the one that I've compared my stuff to, she seems to go with that everyday driver and trying to book, a month or 2 months into the project. And I'm hoping that the next car that I pick up, which we talked about in the last video, I'm in the process of closing that. I think that will probably be completed tomorrow, which means there'll be a restoration underway, a process of doing the build. And if that's the case, there's a few things that need to get done on it. I think it's all maintenance related. It's nothing major from that standpoint. But it's one of those things where probably going to do brakes. Tires look decent. Probably going to do a major tune-up and probably spark plugs and wires and coil pack and like everything's probably going to get done from that standpoint. And probably a transmission service, just get everything all current so there's no headaches down the road. I'll take it over, probably get it oil sprayed for the season as well, and go from there. But that's going to be an interesting one. We'll probably end up doing a booking, so we'll see how we actually put it into Turo. We'll start from scratch on that, and we'll probably end up going through safety process in Southern Ontario, what I have to go through to make sure the vehicle will pass. And then we'll probably talk a little bit about where to buy parts, go from there. I think it'll make an interesting project from a standpoint of, okay, here's a new car, new to me. And we'll go through the whole thing of rolling it up and getting it going. With the Mitsubishi, I kind of already did the big hurdles. So that was kind of my trial. That would have been a little harder to kind of go through because I was, researching it, and that can be spotty over a 6-month period. So when I get this one car, it'll be, okay, we're going to do this over the next week or the next 2 weeks. We'll get everything all completed. And then we'll go through the process of how to put it on Turo, how to write the description, and go from there. Again, I would really appreciate it if you're into this type of topic, if you could subscribe. Right now I'm about 270, 280 people have which is great. I love that. That's wonderful. But like every YouTuber out there, I want to get up to that 1,000 mark, perhaps get monetized. Little things would be nice. Maybe I can upgrade my studio a little bit, get myself a little better mic, maybe get myself a real camera. Who knows? Right now, I've got a lampshade essentially pointing at me, so we get that nice natural flushed light. So again, all things that I think would be quite pleasant to have. And again, if you've got any information out there and you go, okay, Keith, yeah, I'm on Turo. I've been doing it for 5 years and I've got no interest in the YouTube stuff, but here's some helpful advice. I would welcome that. That would be very nice. The other one is if you are in the automotive industry and maybe you're in the finance or maybe you're a sales guy on the floor and you kind of go, I've sold a couple of cars to guys on Turo. This is the process and what they've been looking for and what vehicles do well on your end would be nice. The other one is if you're a body shop and you're going, okay, well, these are our new labor rates. And I hate to say it, but if I'm running a Turo car, Toro car, my apologies, I'm probably going to be using an auto body shop at some point for a ding, a mark, a scratch, a scuff, an accident. If you're in around the Listowel area and you say to yourself, geez, I'd like to touch base with you and have a conversation, I would really appreciate that too. Again, I'm not really a body man. I don't do work along that line. So it's always nice to get a connection and go, okay, well, that's the people that I will go to. And maybe they have a quick turnover and maybe they'll understand that I'm not looking for a concourse or a show quality. I'm looking for bringing it back up to what a 10-year-old or an 8-year-old car would look respectable at. It's not meant to be brand new and spectacular. It'd be great if it was. I'm not saying that I don't want that. I'm just saying that it's a bread and butter car. So if it gets a scratch or dent, it's what we would call a blow-in, and you just kind of push it through the panel and make it so it looks decent, from 10 feet away. That's kind of the thing I would think that you're doing with my cars. Now, if it was a high-end super race car and it's a daily rental and it was a 911 or something really cool, I would probably say, okay, you need to get that done properly. But when you're looking at a bread and butter family car and the bill's going off to the guy that took the rental, you kind of want to say to yourself, you know what? I don't need the $3,000 repaint. It's a couple $100 to tidy it up and move on to the next, right? So that's my thoughts, at least. It's the process I think would work well. So again, if you're out there, I would appreciate a little, hey, how you doing? The other one, if you're in finance, so if you're, let's say at Scotiabank and you process car loans, I would love to talk to you. Again, with the idea of maybe we could talk about what are qualifying factors when it comes to makes and models, years and ranges. What vehicle works best for finance? I'd love to get into that. That'd be a wonderful topic. The other one, I'm thinking down the road, we might actually talk to a sublender or an independent leasing company and say, okay, well, why are you in the business? What are you actually addressing in today's marketplace? And go from there. And a lot of folks, when they come into Canada, or maybe they have a couple of little credit hurdles, it happens, and they've got to go into a sublender. It's nice to be able to have your eyes open and go, okay, I'm going to pay more in interest. So maybe I shouldn't be looking at a Cadillac Escalade. Maybe you should be looking at more of a run-of-the-mill car, or maybe not. Maybe you're in that position where you go, geez, it was a divorce that pushed you in or something along that line. The money is still there, but you just don't have the qualifications anymore to get into that bank, and that's just it. So I'd love to be able to sit down and talk to somebody about that and go from there and just kind of get a feel for the market and go along that line. So we're coming up to about 15 minutes. I try to keep these things 30 minutes long. This is just a quick little update. And again, be very nice if you subscribed. And I do feel like we're doing that telethon thing, where you kind of say, we'd like a donation. I'd like a subscribe to the channel. Would be great. Okay. We'll talk to you later. Have a pleasant and enjoyable day. Let's hit that button and stream. Oh, not yet. There we go.